Joining us right now is Michèle Flournoy. She's the former Undersecretary of Defense for Policy in the Obama administration. She's also co-founder and managing partner at West Exec Advisors. Teneo, we should say, owns a majority stake in that company. Good morning to you.
Great to see you.
Who do you believe in this whole situation before we even get into it all?
Well, I think from what I've heard,
right.
all the intelligence suggests that this was not an Israeli attack. This was the result of whether it was an accidental, an errant rocket from Palestinian Islamic Jihad or an actual deliberate operation to create this horrible situation and to put pressure on Israel. So I think it's a classic case of information operations.
Well, here's the information operations. How does this particular issue get resolved in the minds of the public and the world? Is there intelligence and information that will ultimately get presented by some government or governments that will demonstrate one way or the other what the answer is? Because right now we have this situation that has really inflamed the situation even further now. Yeah,
we have competing versions of the truth. I think there's tremendous pressure on both the Israeli and the U.S. intelligence apparatus to declassify information and share what they know. Share whether it's tracking the trajectory of the rocket, whether it's the debris, etc. We may never know, but to the extent we have information, I would hope that it would be made public.
When you think about just the various permutations with which all of this takes next, what does it look like to you? What do the next couple of weeks look like? What does the next couple of months look like?
Yeah, well, I think what we can expect soon, after President Biden departs, is some kind of ground invasion into Gaza by the Israeli military with air support to try to focus on taking out the leadership of Hamas, their critical infrastructure, their weapons and capacity to launch future attacks. I think that's going to take weeks, if not more. Right. But I don't think we're going to see a long-term Israeli occupation because Israel's had that experience before. Right. They don't want to repeat that again. The real question that nobody has an answer to yet is once they degrade Hamas or even destroy its current capability to launch attacks, who governs in Gaza? What happens in that situation? And my hope is that this will be the impetus for the Arab states, the international community to come together and try to address that question together.
Do you think a ground invasion can be done, though, in a way that is surgical and in a way that the global public ultimately supports?
I think they will make every attempt to make it surgical, but in that environment, no. I mean, this is the worst urban combat environment in the world.
It's almost like a trap that Hamas has created.
Well, it's a warren of alleyways, small buildings, houses, many of which are booby-trapped, hundreds of miles of tunnels underneath the ground that Hamas uses. So it's the worst possible situation
what happens
to go into.
Do you see Iran getting more directly involved anytime soon?
I think at the moment Iran is milking this for all it's worth in terms of putting pressure on Israel and condemning Israel. I don't see them wanting to open a second front. First of all, because Lebanese Hezbollah would, I think, earn the ire of the Lebanese population if they were to start a war with Israel across the northern border. And then I think Iran doesn't really want to come into the war directly and suffer any costs itself.
For Hezbollah.
They are happy to use their proxies and fight to the last.
But if they say Hezbollah can't decide on their own to do it, it would be
that is
Iran.
Absolutely correct. I think even Hezbollah is hesitant. We've seen them be restrained. That said, none of these sides communicate well, understand each other well. The risk of miscalculation is very, very high. The risk of one side or the other misinterpreting action across the northern border and having that escalate is very real.